Good evening. Ayrton Senna, 3 times world motor racing champion, has died after crashing during the San Marino Grand Prix. Senna suffered irreversible brain damage when his car veered off the track at almost 200 miles an hour. He was taken to hospital in nearby Bologna, but he died a few hours later. Senna, aged 34 and from Brazil, was widely regarded as one of the greatest drivers of his generation.
In only my second full season of Formula One, I had been thrust into the role of team leader at the Williams Formula One team after the harrowing death of my teammate Ayrton Senna. From that moment, the championship became a battle between myself and the young German Benetton driver, Michael Schumacher, both with the opportunity to become world champion for the first time.
Responds with a near-perfect lap of 1 minute 18.580 seconds to take pole position by nearly a full second. It's a staggering performance by the young German.
And just knew that this is the lap and the tyres will perform 100%, and I'm going to make a big step out of compared to the first lap. In the last corner I came really sideways and I lost quite a lot.
Senna is, in fact, the only name you need to know recently. He won 6 out of the last 7 Grand Prix here, and he led the 7th before crashing. There have been many memorials to the memory of Ayrton Senna. Among them, in the garage area, there you see the Brazilian flag standing in the Williams pit. Another tribute to the late 3-time world champion. Our Formula One fact, today there is no former winner of this race who will take part in the 52nd running of the Grand Prix of Monaco. Our corner of this tiny principality, and the first man there often determines what happens in the race. Get set. Chopping across the field, gets sideways and tags the guardrail with a little help from someone behind him. He's in the runoff area at Saint-Devote. It might have been Damon Hill who got him from behind. It looks like one of the Tyrrells is also into the guardrail.
All over for Hakkinen, and that's a great pity. He looked so determined in qualifying all through the weekend, and I thought he was really going to give this man Schumacher a real run for his money, but fortunately the rest of the field basically got through as clean as a whistle.
You see them making the run down to Mirabeau, the hotel at that corner. Now a sharp downhill run to this, the Lowe's hairpin, what's known as the station hairpin. Here's another look.
Oh, Hakkinen got tapped. Damon took him.
Came across Damon Hill's right front wheel. I didn't see who spun the Tyrrell into the guardrail in the background, but there you see Mika Hakkinen out of his machine. No sign of a red flag. I believe the race is still underway as leader Michael Schumacher makes his first pass along the harbor.
Lead already. There's Damon Hill staggering along very slowly, obviously out of the race, his wheels pointing in different directions at the front end. What an awful weekend for Damon. He qualified finally very well, but he had all sorts of problems during the weekend and the build up to the race.
And what a horrible moment for Frank Williams, of whom it is said he did not want to bring his team to this race at all in deference to Ayrton Senna. But he was convinced to bring a car for Damon Hill. Hill is now out of the race. Michael Schumacher leads. Christian Fittipaldi in the footwork was the other car out at Senna.
They say that in fact he likes a slightly different setup on his car to Schumacher, but I'm afraid we find that a little bit hard to believe that you could be 4 seconds off just due to setup. But again, Leto is such a star driver, I can't understand his mentality. Here he is, in fact, about to be lapped by his teammate just after 17 laps. Now that is pretty galling for somebody of Leto's class. He's going to let him by, yes, as easy as you like, thank you, and off he goes. There has to be a lot of discipline on this circuit, and so far we've seen some very good driving, and where the overtaking has taken place, it's been very controlled.
The top of the charts, and he is pulling in now. He then came out and knocked more than a second off that time. He has qualified faster than Ayrton Senna ever drove around the Principality, and now he comes in for service. See the fuel going in from the right.
Fairly obviously, I would say, he only started with a light amount of fuel.
And just if the race were to end now, Michael Schumacher's 4th straight victory will give him 10 more points for a total of 40. Gerhard Berger, who runs in 3rd for Ferrari, would move into 2nd place with 10 points. Damon Hill, who was knocked out of the race, will score no more, but he will hold on to 7 and will remain tied for 3rd with Rubens Barrichello. And then there would be a tie between Nicola Larini, who of course does not drive for Ferrari now that Alesi is back, but Martin Brundle, who runs in 2nd place for McLaren, would jump up into a tie with Larini and Jean Alesi with 6 points. The finish line they come in nice order for a photograph anyway.
Exactly. I got the impression just now that in fact that Schumacher had actually got past Leto to lap him for the 2nd time, and then Schumacher pulled over and let Leto go back by again. I got that impression.
Well, stranger things have happened in Monte Carlo, but I think the likelihood of that happening is a little remote, as Jackie Ickx gives victory flag once again to Michael Schumacher, and really the race was given to him in this corner on the 1st lap when Damon Hill nudged Mika Häkkinen out of the Grand Prix.
With Saturday's afternoon qualifying session being cooler than Friday, it's Schumacher's Benetton that takes pole position with a lap of 1 minute 21.908 seconds. Hill is 2nd, half a second behind, and Häkkinen 3rd. The Circuit de Catalunya pays tribute to the late Ayrton Senna with a memorial unveiled by Bernie Ecclestone at the circuit entrance.
He has so much in hand over everybody else. You don't need to be spectacular. Just come in, get a good job done, and exit nice and safe. Notice the larger front wings. There were long end plates that extended around the front wheel. As you can see, they have been chopped off under the new rules.
We don't know at this moment, but I think there is very definitely something wrong with the car Michael Schumacher is driving. There we see him on some parts of the circuit. He's very quick, and Mika Häkkinen is right behind him. Mika Häkkinen right behind Michael Schumacher. So if Häkkinen takes this, Mika Häkkinen is a new leader of the race, and Mika, just wait, relax. The race leader is in trouble. Häkkinen leads the Spanish Grand Prix. Mika. Now, John, maybe we can see whether the indicator, that's it, gearbox broken, he stays in 5th gear. I think that's the end for Michael Schumacher. He cannot select any other gear than 5th.
So I said earlier on that tyres were going to control this race, and that is exactly what is happening. As we look at Schumacher there, we do have a report from the pits, from Rory Byrne, one of the technical experts, with Benetton, that he is still stuck in 5th gear. I do find this very hard to believe, and
we have a new race leader here in Spain, because Damon Hill has made what I believe, John, is his final pit stop. So, and there's as Mika Häkkönen's blown his engine. Mika Häkkinen has blown that engine. So now it's JJ Leto in third. Oh dear, that is a very big blow up indeed for Mika Häkkinen.
Going beyond that, because this FW16 has not been the class of the field so far in 1994. That has gone to Benetton Ford. But what a way to start their climb back, and what an opportunity we now face with 4 coming Grand Prix. We've got Canada in 2 weeks' time, then on to the French Grand Prix, and finally Silverstone in July.
Damon Hill wins his first Grand Prix of the 1994 Grand Prix season.
Absolutely, you can see, looking into the Williams pits, there's been enormous pressure on the team, and I think that they've done a fantastic job, not just today. Now stopping to pick up the Union Jack, take it back proudly to start-finish line before he will climb onto the podium to receive his winner's prize.
To win was better, to be honest, was better than I expected to do. Michael put up as usual, and as to be expected, a tough fight. But this victory must go to everyone at Williams who have been through terrible times, and also to all the fans of Ayrton Senna who I met in Brazil, who said to me that they would be very pleased to see the Williams team do well. And so really to everyone, thank you very much.
I had some difficulties. I mean, the car was running perfect in the beginning. Could open a gap quite easy, and then suddenly I wanted to shift into different gears, and it didn't want to do what I asked it to do. I don't know actually what really happened. I just know that I finished then going in 5th gear, and then everything stopped. I went straight in the pits, asked them if they could do anything to the car, but we were not able to do anything. We just changed tyres and tried to finish the race. I mean, I never would have imagined to finish that race, and then even in 2nd position. I mean, for me, it's something like a victory.
The Williams is visibly more committed through the sweeps of Maggots, Beckett and Chappell. Schumacher sets off for his last run as Hill finishes his with a pole-grabbing time of 1 minute 24.960, 2/100ths of a second quicker than Berger. It's now all eyes on the monitors and the Benetton to see if Schumacher can steal the pole position. One 1:24.963 is not enough. Hill has the pole by just 3,000ths of a second.
Schumacher's Benetton screens off the line at the start of the formation lap and contravenes the FIA regulation Article 120 by overtaking the pole position man as the field comes round to form up for the race start. As the cars take up position, Coulthard's engine stalls and the start is aborted. Coulthard now having to start the race from the back of the grid.
Oil dripping onto exhaust, but it is increasing with RPM.
And the red light is on, and who is making the best start again? It's Michael Snow, it's Damon Hill. Damon Hill's got the best start.
And Martin Brundle's engine or something has caught fire. The car has been pulled off to the left of the circuit. But Damon Hill got into Copse first. He consolidated that pole position, but there was drama for Martin Brundle with that engine. He had to pull straight off the circuit and is out of his British Grand Prix.
Damon Hill leads, Michael Schumacher. Then it's a Ferrari, Rubens Barrichello, another Ferrari, and Jos Verstappen. Damon Hill in the pits. Damon Hill, the first man in the pits, so that would probably be a 3-stop race, I think, John.
Well, it's a big risk, but I'm going to put it down on my sheet of paper and see, as we know from the time, that's a pretty quick pit stop. So I would expect him to be back in probably in another 16 or so laps, which could indicate 3 stops. For 2, Schumacher may take advantage of the lead, try and... He's in the pits. Well, in on lap 17, so much for my theories and for the potential variation that the Benetton team might have been implementing. So Michael Schumacher, let's see how quick he is in and out. The fuel nozzle in, wheels, tires off, back on. Anything more than 7 seconds, well, you can just see the nozzle came out just under 6 seconds, so that's going to mean a very similar view to the race from Benetton as we've seen from Williams.
Well, the lap was quicker in comparison to Damon Hill's lap, and Damon Hill will now be behind Michael Schumacher. There we see it, because Schumacher's in lap was a 1:32.4, and that was 2.4 seconds quicker than Damon did.
Because you know, Gerhard will not let that guy by easily.
Well, Michael Schumacher has got a black flag, lap 22. Well,
I wonder, is that from the pit road? It may have been a fine for, or a black flag for exceeding the speed limit, and well, that is going to change entirely the outcome of this year's British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And fine race between the front three, Berger, Schumacher and Hill, and he's managed to slide under Gerhard Berger, but as he comes across start-finish line, the black flag will be out, and well, Schumacher, we're waiting to see as he comes across Berger into the pit lane. The black flag is out, the number 5 is held out for Schumacher, and the team, of course, will be in contact with him as well.
Schumacher in the pits, Michael Schumacher in the pits.
And he came in the pit lane very, very quick. He braked heavily. You could see how fast he came in the pit lane, braked heavily. Now makes his way down to the end of the pit lane, where he will be delayed momentarily.
It's a 5-second penalty for Michael Schumacher. And actually, someone walked into our booth, John, a couple of minutes ago and said, well, apparently it's for jump start, but I didn't see him jump to start. So
and he had a great start.
Quicker than Jean Alesi was, and well, this is not a replay of the start, but John, there is more and more talk coming from the officials that it was something to do either with the start or with the warm-up lap, because he did overtake Damon Hill, and as far as I'm concerned, you're not allowed to overtake on that warm-up lap. Damon, Georgie, Betty and Damon's sister all here. Joshua is watching back home, and both the kids are watching back home here on Eurosport, and Georgie said, please say hello to my boys. So here we do, because Damon has won the British Grand Prix for the very first time in his career. It's his 5th Grand Prix victory, and Damon Hill is closing the gap again with World Championship leader Michael Schumacher, who is going to finish in 2nd position. There he is, crossing the line in his Benetton Ford. It's Williams Renault, Benetton Ford, Ferrari, McLaren Peugeot, Jordan Hart and another Williams Renault.
Come true that I won the British Grand Prix, and I feel like that has completed the little hole that my father left in his record, and I'm sure that he'll be delighted, and I think it's a wonderful thing.
I have really to make a big compliment to Damon to win here in front of the home Grand Prix. It's something special.
Thanks, Michael.
Schumacher finds himself with a 2-race ban and disqualification from the British Grand Prix following his formation lap contravention and his ignoring of the black flag. It's a major blow to the championship leader's title aspirations. Schumacher appeals against his 2-race ban. The hearing will take place after Belgium. He does run the risk of having his sentence increased by the appeal, but the pressure...
Lap 19, Schumacher makes an uncharacteristic error. Lap 37, Coulthard waves Hill past after receiving a radio message to call into the pits to have his rear wing checked out. It's the first of a number of problems to beset the young Scotsman. Verstappen 4th, Hakkinen 3rd, and Hill 2nd, unable to do anything about catching the winner, but for the first time in '94, Michael Schumacher.
After the race, yet more controversy for Schumacher as he's disqualified for an undersized plank, which the Benetton team claims is a result of this spin on lap 19. The race win is therefore awarded to Damon Hill. The International Court of Appeal upholds the 2-race ban imposed on Schumacher for ignoring the black flag at the British Grand Prix. He'll therefore miss the Italian and Portuguese Grand Prix.
Schumacher's championship title chase is back on course, but it's not over yet with 2 races left and Schumacher on 86 points to Hill's 81.
Back in the position where you left 2 races ago, it's the best thing that happened. The whole weekend was great. It started with a football match, which my team won. It went further with pole position on Saturday, after not nice qualifying on Friday, where we had a little problem, but it worked out in Saturday's qualifying, and then winning the race by not just a little margin, by a big margin.
It is wet, and the grid will be decided on Friday's times. With a 60% chance of rain for the race, Schumacher's thoughts on how grippy or not the track may be give some indication of what we can expect.
Of course, there are certain areas where it keeps the water, and the water doesn't go away, but it is quite grippy, I would say, and it's all right. But if it is heavy rain, then it's going to be very difficult.
Damon Hill is happy, wet or dry.
It would be a mistake to be overconfident. I think that things are getting better for us over the weekend. I'm on the front row, and that's very important. And if I can make it to the first corner first, then I think that I'm in very good shape.
And then the green light to get the 15th of 16 rounds of the World Championship underway. Michael Schumacher makes a right turn directly into the path of Damon Hill, and look at that spray. Schumacher, Hill being challenged by Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Sauber. Then Johnny Herbert, who got a great start, and the same for Jean Alesi.
That was a certain amount of lack of control with wheel spin. Look at the visibility problems.
Now, the resurfacing of this racetrack, the drivers say, has made the runoff better, but it is not perfect. There are still standing puddles in places. And keep in mind, this is a very, very quick racetrack. 135 mile an hour average when they're in the dry. They touch 200 miles an hour at various parts when the track is clear, including this part approaching turn 1. Schumacher trying to win the race. If he does, Hill must be in second place. If he is in third, Schumacher clinches the World Championship here today as he struggles, going way wide in that corner
Oh, you have to be mistake-free. You have to be mistake-free in a long, long race like this.
Derek Daly with you. As you can see, the rain has gotten worse, and we have a yellow flag all the way around the racetrack. The safety car will come out, and Johnny Herbert is off. Johnny Herbert is off in the second Benetton, and that could have enormous implications for the Constructors' Championship. Moments ago, Michael Schumacher almost spun out at the start-finish line. Now, as you can see, the field is slowing behind the safety car. No official word yet on whether they will red flag the race and bring it to a halt, or simply let the cars circulate until they are prepared to turn them loose again on the off chance that the rain lets up. We prepare to begin lap number 12. The yellow flag came out due to heavy rains on lap number 3, and the cars circulated behind the safety car since that point, while 5 cars were taken off the racetrack following accidents. Johnny Herbert, Takechiho Inoue, JJ Leto, Ukio Katayama, and Hideki Noda all out of the race. And that, of course, includes all 3 of the Japanese drivers. And there is one, that is Martin Brundle in the McLaren, I believe. He becomes the 5th car we have lost in the last 2 laps of this race. We saw the entire Minardi team wiped out a few laps ago.
And you can see heavy damage. Left front suspension completely gone. Right rear suspension totally gone. Huge impact for Martin Brundle, who was so good yesterday in the rain. And the troubled area is the same one. The right-hander, which is the Degner corner, exiting. And it brings out the red flag. Forced to stop.
Lights are off on the safety car as the field approaches the top of the hill behind Michael Schumacher. He and Damon Hill locked in a struggle for the World Championship. If the race were to end in these positions, Schumacher over Hill, the World Championship would go to the final race of the year next Sunday in Adelaide, Australia.
Would you see Mansell get sideways? He's the most experienced at these rolling starts, but he gets her sideways on the run to the hairpin. Look at Damon Hill.
In the Casio Triangle, the chicane that has provided so many of the dramatic moments in this race over the years. Down to the green flag comes Michael Schumacher, and the rooster tails fly once again. 26 cars started the race, 15 remain in the running. Half old.
Schumacher is so good at his in-laps and his out-laps. They say he gains more time on people while he's on the pit lane, as well as gaining while he's actually stopped. Look at no tear-offs. In fact, his helmet's beginning to fall apart. The little rubber strip that he had is beginning to come off. 8 seconds. We've seen better.
There's Damon Hill now pitting. Could this be his one and only stop?
That's 1.2 seconds longer, so I can only presume if we can get a long shot.
This is the battle for third coming along. Schumacher has gone by, and Damon Hill will lose extra positions. He will re-enter in 4th spot.
Knowing that Alain and Mansell have yet to stop, so he will gain. And he believes he deserved the World Championship.
You wonder why that time comes down the way it does, even though Damon Hill is nowhere in sight. Once again, it is the computer measuring each car's progress through the race distance. Now there is Michael Schumacher. As you can see, even though Damon Hill is out ahead of him on the racetrack, Schumacher is in the lead by 1.1 seconds as a result of the accumulated time. The format into which this race has been forced following a red flag on lap 13. The
race leader will make a second pit stop as the laps begin to dwindle here at Suzuka Circuit. Slows down to meet the pit lane speed limit of 50 miles an hour.
And he shouldn't need much fuel, so this should be a quick stop.
New set of groove rain tires goes on.
Splash and go, and the very time you want the tires and wheels to go on quickly, they don't. The right front gets held up for a couple of seconds, and a 7-second pit stop is just normal for Benetton, even though the fuelers were finished before the tire man. That may be costly.
The Japanese Grand Prix in 1994. The checkered flag is out. Damon Hill has got to wait. Oh yes, 57.884. That is definitely quick enough, because a 65 is not quick enough. Damon Hill has won the Japanese Grand Prix by 3.3 seconds from Michael Schumacher. And for the first time in the 1994 season, John, he's beaten Michael Schumacher and the Benetton team in a straight fight.
Extremely satisfying moment for Damon.
It was flat out all the way. It was. I knew that I couldn't take any. I couldn't be cautious. I knew that I really just could not drive with any amount of conservatism. So I was really sort of throwing caution to the wind and in an effort to stay ahead of Michael. And that's so satisfying to race like that. But it really does mean a lot to end up in first position at the end of the race.
If you win on Sunday, you'll be a new king of Germany, the first one.
We talk about this on Sunday evening.
Michael and you, do you have contact here in between the days, talk to each other, or you prefer to stay separate?
I haven't seen Michael, no, but I'm sure we'll bump into each other somewhere.
Mansell is quickest in Friday's official qualifying, with Schumacher second and Hill third, the young German having a sizable off at the end of the session.
Schumacher, who leads from Hill. And we've had so far everybody cleanly through the new Ayrton Senna. Christian Fittipaldi, another Brazilian, has to take a shortcut, but look at the cars from left to right, right to left. But Michael Schumacher from second row or second grid position And Nigel Mansell is off the track already, has gone wide. Rubens Barrichello has gone past him, but Michael Schumacher got the dream start. Damon Hill, a great start from the second row, but really the problem of not being in the front row of the grid is the reason why Damon Hill, you can see the gap, probably almost 2 seconds, and we're only halfway round this first lap of 81.
We're on lap 7 of the Australian Grand Prix, the World Championship decider for both the drivers and constructors titles. Michael Schumacher made a very good start indeed, took the lead into the first corner. Damon Hill followed him. Michael took about 2.5 seconds on that opening lap, but Damon is fighting back. The gap at the end of lap 6, 1.484 seconds, and fastest lap now in the hands of Damon Hill. Right behind, must be Frank Lacoste, John. Who is he?
And he's in the pits. Well, Schumacher, this I have to predict. And Damon Hill, so the Williams and the Benetton teams, both on what I now believe will be a 3-stop race. Who's going to be out first? Because Damon Hill had to travel slightly further in the pit lane to get to his pits. The Benetton team have got their car moving, and he is out. Damon Hill's car is moving as well, and it is status quo, but it's now down to the ability of both drivers to maximise their speed on this outlap. Michael Schumacher again over the course of the year has been the man that has made the best of his outlap, but Damon Hill knows he's on a mission, and that mission is a World Championship crown. Schumacher, look at Damon Hill and Schumacher. Oh no! Schumacher and him, and this looks like the World Championship.
This is the end for Schumacher.
Well, let's wait and see. Whatever happens to Damon, he's in trouble as well.
He's in trouble as well.
So Schumacher out of his car. Damon Hill will have to go back to the pits with a bumper arm on the left-hand side. Whatever Schumacher did in the corner, and Damon now, you can see a tire looks like it's gone down. Is this the end of the 94? What an appalling sight for what had been absolutely fantastic. Damon Hill, left front going down, but more importantly, the upper wishbone, you can see the rearward link of that upper wishbone is kinked. Damon Hill ought to be able to get back to the pits, but can they get it changed in enough time to allow Damon Hill to get back out onto the circuit and get Senna? And I can imagine the disgust. Well, there's one face who knows what he's done. There's another man who has seen the World Championship taken away from him. He feels justifiably robbed. And I mean, the entire Williams team, they're standing around looking at it, waiting for it to repair in itself. They've now got the toolbox out. They're now going to take that offending part off. Michael Schumacher, well,
if only Damon had waited for another corner, maybe. Who knows? What can we say? Of the year, there is Damon Hill. He will be saying words I will not repeat on television.
History repeats itself. Back in 1989, it was Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. Back in 1990, it was Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. And here in Adelaide, in the last Grand Prix of the year, Michael Schumacher drove his car, gave Damon Hill no room whatsoever. Now, the argument will be that Michael could have said, well, he didn't have to pass me. But Damon, in my mind, he put his car in position. He clearly was forced into no man's land. An awful and a bad taste to what up to now had been an absolutely fantastic finale in the 94 championship. Damon Hill will, I'm sure, in a moment when this race is finished, want some explanation. Michael, that smile, I have to say, is... Well, you are world champion.
He'll probably say you can't believe it, John. Driving off the circuit, hitting the wall, and one corner later, he's basically world champion.
Pushed him very hard all the way. It was a terrific race. And all I can say is that it's over now, and it's a bit of an empty feeling, but I think I gave him a good run for his money, and he certainly was feeling the pressure because he ended up falling off the road.
Michael Schumacher is Germany's first ever Formula One world champion. He may have made it look easy, but it's been a tough year for him too.
The season has been started quite well, I would say, in Brazil. Even Aida, it was a good race, and then we came up to Imola, and what happened there is just a... When I talked about nightmare in the before, then I have to say it's in the other direction, and all of us know what kind of feelings we had to make about this in particular for Ayrton, but as well for Roland, and as well for Carl, what happened in Monte Carlo. For me, it was always clear that I'm not going to win the championship, and it's Ayrton who is going to win the championship, but he hasn't been there for the last races, and I'd like to take this championship and give it to him.
I think you can't credit the guy with the coolness and the ability to think clearly and calculatingly on the circuit during a race, and then turn around and say he didn't know what he was doing. It's either one way or the other. Either he's instinctive and he just does what he does, or he knows exactly what he's doing.
All the experienced race drivers, they would say, I wouldn't have done anything different. That's what it's racing about. It was my line, I was in front. Damon saw a chance to take, which I would have seen as well. He dived in, but I didn't see a reason to go away.
With the launch of the new car, expectations are high for 1995.
I really am fully prepared for this year. I've spent a long time preparing myself, and I know that the Williams team have spent an awful long time preparing this car. The FW17 is the product of many, many hours work in the wind tunnel by Adrian Newey, and with the technical directorship of Patrick Head and all the people at Williams. They put in such a lot of effort into this car. It's going to be a race winner, and I fully expect it to be a championship winner as well.
World champion Michael Schumacher is joined at Benetton by Johnny Herbert in the new B195, now with Renault V10 engines.
Can the champion sustain pressure? Is Hill capable of overtaking him on the track?
Schumacher was definitely under pressure during qualifying for Brazil. A light off damaging the front of the Benetton, followed by a major shunt from which the German was lucky to escape unhurt.
Nevertheless, he still managed to qualify on the front row alongside Damon Hill, 3/10 slower than the Englishman.
So, on the left, pole position for the first Grand Prix of 1995, Damon Hill. On the right of your picture, the light blue car is Michael Schumacher. Behind Hill is David Coulthard, and behind Michael Schumacher is Johnny Herbert. So all the front four cars are Renault powered. then the two Ferraris. It's a 71-lap race. Long, out goes the green flag and the red light. It's go for 1995. Schumacher gets away. Hill is right alongside him as they go into the Senna S. But Schumacher leads as they go into the left-hander. Now the right of the Senna S. Schumacher's got the drop on Damon Hill. Behind the Williams there of Coulthard, you can see Mika Häkkinen. So coming down the straight as Hill dives out from underneath Schumacher's wing. It's Schumacher, Damon Hill, David Coulthard.
Behind on this lap, but it certainly seems that Schumacher is being pressurised.
And just watch the next time we have some in-car shots, the amount that the steering wheel is moving. I've never seen that kind of movement in a Formula One car in all the years I've been around.
And Damon Hill has put up the fastest lap so far. 1 minute 22.4, and he's going for it. He has a look, and Schumacher closes the door, which of course he's got every right to do. And Damon Hill goes through, tries again. Now Damon and Coulthard comes up alongside Hill and takes second position. But not for very long. Now, there are no team orders between the two Williams-Renault drivers, Damon Hill and David Coulthard. The only instruction they've had is not to take each other off for obvious reasons. And here is Schumacher. Now, we're with Michael Schumacher, who was the race leader but is no longer, because Damon Hill has gone through, Coulthard has gone through. And the positions are changing as I talk to you. 7.6 seconds for Michael Schumacher, an excellent stop. Remember, fuel goes in at the rate of 12 litres per second, so that's about 85 or so litres of fuel into Michael Schumacher's car, and he is passed by the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger.
Because that's costing him an awful lot of time.
Well, now, it looks to me, and I'm just waiting to see them come around, so with Damon Hill in the lead. Coulthard some 5.5 seconds behind him. Schumacher challenging Gerhard Berger, as though Mika Häkkinen is up into third place, and Schumacher's going through at the Senna S to take the position from Gerhard Berger's Ferrari.
Now tyre covers are off at Williams, so one of the cars coming in. It looks to me as if both Hill and Coulthard are running the same fuel strategy. They clearly won't come in on the same.
The Williams, Damon Hill, race leader Damon Hill. Now, is he going to get out quickly? Schumacher's time, stationary, was 7.6 seconds, so Damon Hill has lost 3.2 seconds stationary.
Clearly that's just what Damon Hill didn't need, but I think the problem there was the fact that the left front wheel was finished a little bit late. And there's been an interesting development this weekend. He's out ahead of Stu.
Yes, Damon Hill exits the pit lane in front of Michael Schumacher.
Years ago, I don't think you could have done that with a Lacey, but that was really professional, good stuff there.
Spin, and that...
I think that's Damon Hill. I think that is Damon Hill.
Let's see. It is. It is. Damon Hill, the race leader, has spun out of contention in Brazil. His race is over, and Michael Schumacher is in the lead, and David Coulthard is in second place, nearly 14 seconds behind him.
It was therefore an easy win for Schumacher and the delighted Benetton team. Coulthard would finish second after an uneventful but solid opener to his 1995 campaign, and Gerhard Berger would cross the line third in typically dogged fashion after that earlier problem in the pits. For Damon Hill, it was 10 championship points lost, and more importantly, to his chief rival.
Looking very good for the race because I'd only done one stop and only had one more to do, and Michael had an extra stop to do than me, so things are looking very good. And then I lost a gear on the back part of the circuit, second gear, and then coming into the first corner here, accelerating down the hill, and the gearbox, I think the gearbox seized up, but I'm not absolutely sure yet what happened.
Echoes of Mansell in 91. Same corner, a gearbox problem eliminating him from an almost certain victory. Senna who collected the win that time, this time Schumacher.
In no way I would have imagined I'm going to win this race. I was settled already for second or third position.
A year after the tragic deaths of Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna, the Formula One circus returns to Imola for round 3 of the championship. And with Berger's red number 28 starting on the front row, the Tifosi have plenty to shout about. But first, 1 minute silence.
second slower. Oh, one of the... Is it Schumacher?
Herbert?
It's Schumacher.
It's Michael Schumacher. With a tremendous impact. You see both right side wheels are gone. But tire walls all around, and they don't seem to be scattered at all. Well, let's see if we can see what happened from his nose camera. You'll be the first to know.
Up the hill at Peraltata, he never made a single lap and loses it under braking. Never made a single lap around on slick tires, obviously too cold. Loses it, and the crash and the impact is about to happen right smack there. And he destroys the Benetton. That's the front nose cone on the upper left-hand side of your picture. Second impact, very, very hard on the right-hand side. Here it is, under braking, loses it on the grass. Out of control totally. Takes the front off, backs it up into the tire barrier. Nearly rolled the Benetton upside down.
Very lucky he didn't put it on its head. There goes Scotsman David Coulthard. Well, after an action-packed first 14 laps, Gerhard Berger now has a 9-second lead over Damon Hill, followed by David Coulthard. I got confused because we have a colored monitor for timing and scoring, and it has been absolutely lit up like a pinball machine. James Allen.
Gerhard Berger now comes into pits, his second stop of this afternoon's San Marino Grand Prix. The first time round was just for slick tyres. This time he's filling up with gas. It's quite a long stop, of course. That V12 Ferrari is quite a thirsty engine. He's back out there. Pretty quick stop, I would say.
Not anymore, James. Problems. They have to bring out the starting gun.
And very simply, he dropped the clutch and stalled the Ferrari. They use a two-pedal system on this car. It's a hand-operated clutch as opposed to a foot-operated clutch, and he stalled it, and he almost does it again.
Let's see how long that pit stop was. Out after 46 seconds.
An absolute disaster when you're trying to win a race. These Williams cars are fast enough without giving them a huge advantage by sitting stationary in the pit lane.
11th career Grand Prix victory and take the 1995 championship points lead away from arch rival Michael Schumacher.
Absolutely superb and controlled run by Damon Hill in very, very difficult conditions. And if you look to the left-hand side of your screen, you will see hopefully all the Williams mechanics rejoice. And Damon Hill comes over to celebrate with them.
A jubilant Hill was now firmly leading the championship, 6 points ahead of Schumacher and Alain.
Difficult race because of the conditions at the beginning were pretty treacherous, and changing conditions and deciding when to go to slick tyres and trying to get through the back markers. All in all, there were a lot of things in the race that would have made it very difficult to make very easy to make a mistake.
Schumacher now had 4 wins, 2 Hills, 2. The Williams proving reliable this time, but lacking pace in the race. Ligier, celebrating their 300th Grand Prix, had figured strongly on home soil, thanks to Martin Brundle's efforts, and despite his jump start penalty, Rubens Barrichello snatched a point in the final reckoning.
My only real hope would have been to really stay ahead of him in the pit stops, or hope that he was on a 3-stop, but there was no way I could stay with his pace today, and I have to make do with second place, and we'll have to go back and think again for Silverstone.
Schumacher, it is Bouillon, the French driver, and now Damon says, I'm with you, Michael, and he's on new tyres, newer tyres than Michael Schumacher, and they're through the Beckett's, this magnificent complex, and Damon is pushing. Remember what happened in Australia last year when Damon Hill was as close as this to Michael Schumacher. Schumacher got rattled, Schumacher went off, and they're now right up behind the Sauber.
And what was interesting there was that Schumacher, to my mind, deliberately slowed a little on the last part of Beckett's. Hill was falling all over the back of him to make sure that Schumacher got the fast exit from the last part of Beckett's, because he knows that into the right-hander of Beckett's, and where one corner on, is the best chance for overtaking, and he wanted to make sure that A, he got by Bouillon, and secondly, that he didn't give Damon Hill the chance to take a run up alongside him.
Was that tit for tat? Because Schumacher was very angry with Damon Hill in the French Grand Prix for giving him, Schumacher, what he said was a brake test as they came up to lap Roberto Moreno. Hill backed off, and Hill closes right up on Schumacher now. Hill backed off, and when you back off in a Formula One car, there's no flywheel effect in the engines. It's just as though you put the brakes on, and Schumacher had to do just that in France. So maybe he was looking very closely at Damon Hill.
This is the best battle of any Grand Prix this year. It's Mark Blundell that's now in front of Michael Schumacher, but to have a 2/3 distance, the two arch rivals separated by 1 to 2 seconds, is absolutely fantastic. With Damon Hill on his home ground, pumped up as much as any driver ever can be, Michael Schumacher knows too that this is the time when he needs to prove, if he believes it, that he's the best driver, and it's all going to happen in the next 15 laps here at Silverstone.
Down the hangar straight. Schumacher, rightly or wrongly, believes that the British Grand Prix last year was taken away from him unfairly due to that black flag incident. That's a point of view thing as well, but he's going to be just as determined to stay ahead of Damon as Damon is going to be determined to get past him. And it's going to make an enormous difference in World Championship terms, because if Schumacher can stay ahead of Hill and win the British Grand Prix, he will increase his World Championship lead of 11 points by 4 points. If Damon Hill could get past Michael Schumacher and win, it would decrease the gap from 11 points to 7 points.
Oh, what's happened? Damon's lost it, has he? Stops! Off! They're both off! Who's that? Is that a Tyrrell, or is it? It's Schumacher. They're both off. They're both out. Now, you suddenly saw Damon Hill's steering wheel whirl about in his hands. Now, whether they collided or not, I do not know, but whatever. Well, hang on, we're going to show you what happened. Schumacher waves his hand in disgust. Now, this is it. Here they are, Schumacher on the left, Damon Hill on the right. Damon attacks, goes through on the inside. Contact. Now there's going to be a big argument about that. Damon Hill will say, I was close enough to get through on the inside. Schumacher will say, in no way were you. But the result is, of course, that Johnny Herbert is leading the British Grand Prix.
Memories of Adelaide 94 were at the top of most people's thoughts about the incident on lap 46 between Hill and Schumacher. Neither contender admitting fault, Hill claiming it to be a racing incident and Schumacher placing all the blame at the Englishman's feet.
It was not necessary.
Now, it's no secret that you are not exactly wondering where your next dollar is coming from. But I find it very hard to believe that you're contemplating moving next year just for money. So what other considerations are involved?
It's a good point, which I'd like to speak in the end of the season about, because now I want to concentrate completely and 100% with what I'm doing here. We have a fantastic relationship still in the team, which we had over more than 4 years, nearly 5 years' time. And the team is handling the situation quite well. They accept what I do, and it's a pretty good relationship, but there's no reason now to talk what's going on next year while we're middle in this season.
Gerhard Berger, 36 years old on race morning, would start from pole position. Teammate Alain shared the front row, with Hakkinen third and Herbert fourth. Hill was back in 8th, and Schumacher even further behind in 16th, both having suffered problematical wet qualifying sessions.
Very frustrated at the moment, but as you rightly say, Michael, the man who is most important to beat and be ahead of, is 8 places behind me on the grid.
So if your job is difficult, how much more difficult is his?
Well, his job is exceedingly difficult if he's going to get in the points, but I don't think that's impossible from where he's on the grid, because the cars between him and me are substantially slower, so I reckon he'll carve his way through those fairly quickly. From my place upwards, the cars are a lot quicker and it's more difficult to make up places. But the most important thing is for me to get in the points, get as high up the points as I can, and make sure I'm ahead of Michael.
12 seconds. So take a second off for the fuel hose going in and then coming out. And Coulthard going much slower. David Coulthard touring. Lap 14. David Coulthard touring, and past him goes the Ferrari. Oh my goodness, it looks as though Coulthard is out of the race, in which case Hill is now leading it. There's Berger, and yes, oh, you can see the readout on the dashboard, and David Coulthard tours, having led the race, and retires on lap 14. Nice clean stop, 10 seconds. So it's about 80 litres of fuel. And there's Berger coming in from 3rd, Irvine coming in from 4th. Now, that means to say that Michael Schumacher now, there he is up into 2nd position. He's just under 14 seconds behind Damon Hill. Schumacher is leading now, of course, I'm sorry. Schumacher leading with that stop of Damon Hill having depressed him. And there is Hill in the background. Now, the point of this is that Schumacher has not been in and is on worn tyres, although with a lighter fuel load. Damon Hill has got a heavier fuel load, but to compensate for that, he has new tyres and greater grip. It took about 10 seconds for the Williams. It's taken 9.2 for Michael Schumacher. And Olivier Panis, of course, is well down. He was 23 seconds behind the leaders. So Schumacher will be rejoining in 2nd position on lap 19. But you look at the race leader, Damon Hill, who is on his 19th lap, having stopped. And we need to be looking at Hill, because here is Michael Schumacher going through, and he's now again leading
the Belgian Grand Prix, but he is on slick tyres. He's got to go another 4 miles before he can change those tyres if the weather deteriorates. I didn't see whether Damon Hill put slicks or wet weather tyres on. Maybe we'll be able to find out through Tony Jardine, but meantime, Hill is back on the track. There he is. Here's Schumacher. Now you can see, look at the water on the track. Schumacher's got a major problem, and that is Damon Hill. Now, is he on wets? Yes, he is. Damon Hill has got the right tyres, Schumacher's got the wrong tyres, and I confidently predict that Schumacher will be passed by Damon Hill, probably on this lap. When the braking is called for, but Hill could pull out of the slipstream of Michael Schumacher's Benetton and take the lead at the Belgian Grand Prix, if not sooner. He's looking for a way past. Schumacher blocks his path. Now, this is the chance for Damon Hill. This is where I said, but Schumacher's going to try and cut him off. Hill is alongside him and goes through. No! Schumacher still marginally ahead. Pushes Damon Hill sideways, retaining his...
Or the team, and almost certainly a combination of the both, it's gambling on the weather. We've got Williams and Damon Hill who've decided that it's best to come in, put the right tyres on for the current prevailing conditions, whilst we've got Benetton who are taking the view, and again Hill goes round the outside. Hill's trying the outside. Schumacher is driving very precisely, making Damon Hill really work. If you're going to come round by me, you're going to go round the long way, thinks Michael Schumacher, and he's absolutely right, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before Hill does get by.
On wets now, again Damon Hill tries at La Source.
And the rain has stopped in front of us in the commentary box. The rain has stopped, and if that's the case around the remainder of the circuit, that's going to mean that Damon Hill's gamble is likely to fail, because as soon as the track starts to dry, if Schumacher can hold Hill off now when the track may be at its wettest, if it's no longer raining, then he will almost certainly start to pull out again over the next few laps, and Hill may well be forced to go back into the pits and return to slick tyres.
Remember Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell at Monaco? This is almost a replay of that. Now, is Hill going to get through? Yes! And Michael Schumacher runs wide, loses grip, goes over the grass. And I remember Nigel Mansell doing that at the same point in the Ferrari. But let's hear as you watch Schumacher and Damon Hill at the bus stop. Damon Hill in second position with Schumacher through and into the lead, and Damon Hill really loses it coming out of the bus stop there. That is surprising, because Schumacher, you can see, is on those slick tyres, and it looks to me as though you can see there's a shadow now, and it looks to me as though Schumacher is going to come out on top as a result of tyre choice. Into third gear and about 85 miles an hour. That's where Schumacher went off earlier on. Damon Hill goes through.
Well, as we expected, the track is getting worse. Schumacher's time on that previous lap was a 2:09. That's 3 seconds slower, and there is the safety car. The safety car is out because of the number of cars on slick tyres and the wet conditions, and what's going to happen now is that all the cars will now have to follow in formation behind that safety car.
Alongside Roberto Moreno, is Roberto going to give way and let the Williams through? Yes! So, almost together, the Benetton of world champion and world championship leader Michael Schumacher, as Moreno nearly loses it. Damon Hill is second. We have 12 laps to go, including the one that they are
covering with no damage.
We've just heard that Damon Hill has been given a 10-second penalty for going too fast in the pit lane. And that means to say that instead of being 1.7 seconds behind, he was 11.7 seconds behind. Those are the Williams crew members, and that could be... He's got to come in for 10 seconds yet. I'm sorry, my apologies.
Schumacher cruised across the line to score his 16th career win, where 4 years previously he'd scored his first. With Hill in second and Brundle in third, Frentzen, Blundell and Barrichello were left to sweep up the remaining championship points.
Schumacher had extended his lead at the head of the championship table by 4 points, and with Alain, Coulthard, Herbert and Berger all failing to score, the principal championship rivals had furthered the gap to the rest. After the race, attention focused on the incident on lap 23, the two rivals unsurprisingly differing in their views.
I knew it's going to dry out. I knew he had this momentum where he might be quicker, and I think we had a pretty tight run. I certainly was defending the position, and it got very tight, but I think we done it in situation where it was quite easy. We didn't do it in high-speed corners, and in slow-speed corners nothing can really happen if you drive that close, and I just took that risk.
Yeah, that's all fair. It's all well and good if it's accidental, but if it's meant on purpose, then I'd be pretty upset. And you know, I think it's all very well to have a close race, and I enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed watching it, but you know, these are Formula 1 cars, they're not go-karts, as I've heard someone say once before. And so. But congratulations to him for coming from 16th to win the race.
You must try go-karts. They're good.
Yeah.
Berger had snatched the lead now, and the Tifosi were ecstatic. Coulthard made it back to the pits, but retirement was instant. A failed front wheel bearing the cause of the earlier spin. Lap 24, Schumacher second, Hill third, Taki Inui in the way. Bang! For the second time this year, the pair are off and the controversy immense. Schumacher straight over to Hill to vent his anger.
Schumacher and Hill were at the centre of controversy once again. Here we can see how first Hill and then Schumacher saw the incident. Unfortunately, we can't tell you what was said here.
In the situation where he is second to Schumacher in the championship, and he spins and goes off. Damon Hill out. It's a wet patch, and Hill is out of the Grand Prix of Europe, and therefore effectively, in my opinion, virtually out of the World Championship. Michael Schumacher is on 6 points. Damon Hill is going to score no points in this race, so that at minimum, as a thunderstruck David Brown looks at the monitor and Damon Hill walks away from the Williams, that means to say that there is going to be a minimum of an increase in the gap in the World Championship between Schumacher and Hill of 6 points from 17 to 23 with 30 points left. It's looking virtually impossible for Hill to win the World Championship. He won at Hockenheim, the German Grand Prix. This is the Nürburgring, Germany. This is great motor racing at the front, the like of which we haven't seen for a long time. Michael Schumacher sees number 27 on the rear wing of Jean Alain's Ferrari. What a famous number that is. And Brundle and Häkkinen are still ahead. Alain, you see, has got to remember where Schumacher is when he plans how to get ahead of Häkkinen and Brundle. If Brundle, if indeed he can. This is lap 65. There's only 2 laps to go after this one. Alain Schumacher, Coulthard third, Barrichello fourth, Hill is out, Irvine is fifth, Herbert is sixth, and Schumacher has a look. Now, can he get through on the inside? Alain resists him, he's coming up to a left-hand bend, so he's got the inside line. What a struggle. Brundle goes past Diniz, or tries to, and still Alain has got this problem, and off goes Häkkinen, and off goes the 40 in front of him.
Well, I've heard of moving out of the way for the leaders, but that was pretty ridiculous.
And again, now we're with Michael Schumacher. This is lap 65. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. And Schumacher... Yes! Michael Schumacher takes the lead in the Grand Prix of Europe, and the Benetton team go berserk with delight. Now I think he will pull away from Jean Alesi, who will feel deflated, bitterly disappointed and enormously impressed. The psychological pressure, I think, will get to the Ferrari driver. Indeed, it has done so already. And Michael Schumacher has got this lap and the next one to go between himself and the checkered flag for a glorious 7th win this year.
A replay shows just how close they both were to coming off. Wheels interlocked, they had touched. The German's 17th Grand Prix victory, and probably his greatest so far. The 2nd consecutive title virtually in the bag.
I have to say that the guys have the whole year done a fantastic job in all this area, pit stops, strategies, giving me always a car which I was able in the end of the day to win, even it was difficult at when we started sessions Friday and Saturday, but up to Sunday we always were there. And I thought as well that being able to win in Hockenheim, I used up my luck, but I didn't use up all of this. I was able to win here in front of a home crowd, which was unbelievable. When I saw Damon gone off, I thought either to stay in 2nd position, drive home 6 points, or go in and fight for the 1st place, which was quite far away at this moment. But then when I saw all this support and the fans, I thought I must win. I must do everything to win this race. So I did, it worked out, but I have to say a big reason and a big thanks to my supporters. They have been here under difficult circumstances, I mean weather and everything. It's fantastic to see I have such fantastic supporters.
For Hill, it was a day of ifs and buts, but he was the one who had to go for it and failed, and he was the first to congratulate the victor.
So Michael Schumacher enters the last corner of the last race of the last lap to win the Pacific Grand Prix in Japan and to become the world champion of 1995. The Benetton team, of course, are ecstatic.
Respectful of his ability as a driver. He's shown on numerous occasions that he has extraordinary talent and speed, and
thank you.
Congratulations to him for his 2nd World Championship.
The way the team has come up with strategies and used the strategies and done it, I mean, it's I never have seen something like this, and I have really to say I have a good crew who does this job. It's unbelievable for me. Not one mistake this season, really, and just really, really good, these guys.
But another marriage at the end of the season as well. Michael Schumacher is now a Ferrari driver. for his first appearance at Fiorano, the Tifosi had gathered. Schumacher has signed for 2 years to drive for Ferrari, and there's no doubt the attention will be massive.
Your father was one of the most charismatic figures in Grand Prix racing.
Hill wins the race and the championship with Colin Chapman's Lotus.
He's lost time. Hill goes by. Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of 1994, but can he keep going? Damon Hill retires from the Australian Grand Prix.
Respectful of his ability as a driver, he's shown on numerous occasions that he has extraordinary talent and speed, and thank you, congratulations to him for his second.
Well, I came into 1996 better prepared than I'd ever been, I think, for a Formula One season. I took the view that this was going to be my best and possibly my last chance to win the Formula One World Championship.
I'm looking forward to 1996, but not in the way compared to last year. The expectation is not to go for the championship right now. Sure, if we have a possibility, we will use it, but I think it's rather a dream than realistic at this moment, and I try to be realistic. So I don't expect too much by this stage. Let's see where we are. I don't think we at the pace in this moment, in particular reliability, should give us some trouble, because we were very late with the car. We couldn't do all the tests that we wanted, but we will try and make the best out of the situation.
Yeah, it's very relaxed, and you know, got over my jet lag and everything, and I've heard it's nice and sunny weather down here now, so.
Villeneuve is the first to draw blood in the new one-session qualifying on Saturday afternoon. Only Carlos Reutemann in 72 and Mario Andretti in 78 have started their debut Grand Prix from pole.
I'd love to have had pole position, obviously, but I mean, Jack's done a terrific job, and it was exciting. And I think the new format is actually very exciting. You know, it's got to happen in that 1 hour. And I thought I had it there for a bit, and I got it taken away just at the end.
Despite Schumacher's pre-season reservations, Ferrari are right up there too.
Now, that was a long hold, and again it's a good start from Villeneuve. Is he going to out-drag Damon Hill? Yes, but this time he does not out-drag Irvine. And charging up through the field comes Gerhard Berger, who is right up alongside the Ferrari, where all go now as they come up towards turn 3, the soccer stadium. Damon Hill is second, Irvine is third again, and ahead of Michael Schumacher, so he's had a magnificent start.
Well, that was a mistake from Martin Brundle, but in the circumstances, who can blame him?
Yes, Martin has bad luck on the first time, bad luck on the second time, and Schumacher is now ahead of his teammate Eddie Irvine up into third place. And it's still the two Williams then. And if anybody can carry that Ferrari round on his back, it's Michael Schumacher. There won't actually be a need to do so. It's a John Barnard design. The engine has been developed by the ex-Honda Japanese engineer Osamu Goto. He's made a fine job of it, and it may well have been that Ferrari was sandbagging about the reliability of their cars. We don't expect them, or at least I don't expect them, both to last the full race distance. But Schumacher, as you can see, is giving the two Williams drivers a run for their money at the moment, and in the process is pulling away from Eddie Irvine. The gap between the two Ferraris now is 2.4 seconds. We're riding with him now, goes Damon Hill to take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. Schumacher will not go through before Villeneuve unless Villeneuve has a real problem. Now, the quickest top stop we've had so far is 9.1 seconds, but Villeneuve will be putting in less fuel, of course, because he's done 31 laps now. What am I saying? Because the seconds are ticking away. Now there's a problem with the left front, and that is a dreadful stop for Villeneuve, because if Damon Hill comes in on the next lap, as we expect him to, and takes less than 17 seconds, he will certainly take the lead. Have been changed. The nuts have been tightened.
Look at the different technique. Williams don't lower the car to the ground. Well, I'd have rather seen the end of Williams' pit stop than the Ligier. 13.5, it's a longer stop. It's a longer stop. This should let Villeneuve, let's have a look. We can see Hill comes out of the pit lane. Villeneuve comes up. It's going to be very, very close into the first corner.
And that Damon Hill takes the lead and stays ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. Well, you can't be much closer than that. And Villeneuve realises that now he's got to go for it, because Damon Hill's tyres are not as warm as Villeneuve's are. There's not a lot of difference in it, and Villeneuve fights and retakes the lead. Fantastic! Absolutely incredible. It's in the points. Heinz-Harald Frentzen is 7th, Parnis is 8th. Schumacher down to 9th position, a lap adrift. He's a lap behind, and out of the race goes Michael Schumacher. Now, I'm guessing, I really am guessing, that's exactly what he did on the familiarisation day at that very corner, and he just managed to scramble off, so he knows his way back. He's obviously overshot the corner. Now, here's a replay of it. Now, was that a brake failure or was it a Schumacher failure? I certainly don't think it was the latter.
Olivier Panis and the Ligier that's ahead. I think there's been an incident that we didn't see somewhere that's let Hill get right back in contention with Villeneuve.
The gloves are off. Their teammates are great mates, and off goes Villeneuve, and he gets on the course back in front of Hill, and he manages to block his teammate, because that was Damon's opportunity. He wasn't able to take it, but now Hill can push very hard indeed, and he's trying to take him on the outside. He nearly goes off on the inside of the corner. What a sensational scrap. And remember, this is for the lead between teammates. And Damon Hill senses his opportunity and goes for it. And Villeneuve cuts him off. Hill goes again. And this is lap 53 being completed. Slow, says... is he going to ignore it? Is he going to be a good team man and obey it? And if he does, Damon Hill will go through and win.
Well, the fact is, at the moment, he is ignoring it. Certainly has done so far. Now, this is the crucial bit. No, he lets him through. Surely, yes. Jacques Villeneuve lets Damon Hill through. He concedes the lead. He knows that he's got a problem with the car. Bitter goal for Jacques Villeneuve. In the first one in Melbourne, convincingly, to make it 2 on the trot. And Damon Hill crosses the line to win the Australian Grand Prix. Glenn Dix gives him the flag, as he gave the winners in Australia in that distinctive style of his. The crowd know a good winner when they see one, and Damon Hill is that man. Look at the reception.
like you, yeah, I like you, and I feel it's a bohemian like you, yeah, I like you, yeah, I like you, and I feel,
Very pleased about winning here because I had a hiccup in Germany, but now back on winning form again. And the tactics in the race were perfect, and I had a very good strategy, and thanks to the Williams team for working that well.
It should be blue skies, it should be blazing sunshine, it should be baking heat. It was about 25 degrees here yesterday and the day before. Look what it's like now. I wouldn't like to be a driver in those conditions, particularly anybody other than Damon Hill, because if Hill gets away smartly from pole position on the left-hand side of the grid, he will be in a very strong position. Tremendous opportunity, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go! And Hill is away well. Tucked up behind him is the Benetton, and Michael Schumacher has been left at the start. And there's a jostling for position as they go into the first right-hander coming towards us. It is a Williams in the lead. Behind him is the Benetton, and it's Jacques Villeneuve who is leading. He's got ahead of Damon Hill, and so has Jean Alain. Gerhard Berger is in 4th position in the second Benetton. So a magnificent start by the young... And Damon Hill is 3.5 seconds behind Jacques Villeneuve, who is taking advantage of the comparatively clear vision situation he's got to go fastest. He's just gone round in 1 minute 52 seconds. And that is about 8 tenths. And Hill onto the grass now. Has he managed to keep going? It's Johnny Herbert managed to do so. Damon Hill spins off and he's keeping those wheels rolling, and Berger goes past up into 3rd position, and Damon Hill rejoins. He's back in the race. Now that's the important thing. He's kept his momentum up, and Schumacher has got past as well. So Damon Hill has got it all to do now, but then so has Villeneuve. Michael Schumacher is the first man today to lap in these wet conditions in under 1 minute 50 seconds. You just saw the time. You see the result. The 2 times world champion in his 7th race for Ferrari is battling for the lead now, with Alain ahead of him in 2nd place, who drove for Ferrari last year, and the incredible Jacques Villeneuve in only his 7th Grand Prix for the Williams-Renault team. So the Canadian leads, the Frenchman is 2nd, the German is in 3rd place, it's an Austrian 4th, an Englishman 5th, and a Brazilian, Rubens Barrichello, in 6th place. The race of nations in Spain.
What's interesting is Villeneuve is actually holding up, not just Alain and Schumacher, but if we look at the lap times, his last lap was a 1 minute 52.3, and Hill's off again!
Damon Hill off again! Now, is this the end? He's managed to regain the track, but that's the 2nd time Damon's gone off, and I was saying earlier on that he was likely to be the happiest man in terms of his car handling. And now there is Schumacher and Alain. It's fantastic for 2nd position, and this is lap 9 in this 65-lap race. And Damon Hill is now down in 8th position. He's been passed by Frentzen, he's been passed by Verstappen, and Schumacher goes through, passes Jean Alain and moves up into 2nd place with a bit of brilliant driving in these appalling conditions. Jean Alain won't give up though. He was vying for the lead, now he's lost 2nd place, and Schumacher
come out of the bag these days, but it is still an advantage, and continuing to keep the Williams ahead, and they've been very dominant throughout the dry practice. But you know, watching Schumacher here, just watch the way his car shimmies as he's coming around these corners, and that's Damon Hill out.
Damon Hill out of the Spanish Grand Prix on lap 12. No points at Monaco, no points here in Spain. You can see how dejected he is. because quite apart from anything else, he's in the position of seeing his World Championship lead, and Schumacher is there with a clear track ahead of him, past Jacques Villeneuve. We didn't see the passing move, but we see the result of it, and Schumacher has brilliantly worked his way up from, first of all, third on the grid, then he dropped back into fifth position, and he now leads Jacques Villeneuve by nipping through on the inside, having looked, as Jonathan was saying, at all the possible line alternatives, looking for grip, and he's found it. This is very much the world champion at his best. There is the potential world champion, Damon Hill. And this is a mark of the genius of Michael Schumacher, having got past Jacques Villeneuve with a clear track in front of him. His last lap was an incredible 4 seconds faster than that of Villeneuve. He's streaking away now, having got the advantage, having got the lead, having got clear conditions, knowing where the grip is, and more importantly, where the grip isn't. Michael Schumacher leads on lap 13 in Spain, and frankly, I think he only has to keep going, even at this stage of the race, to stay there and give Ferrari their first Grand Prix victory. Wins the Spanish Grand Prix after an absolutely superlative drive to give himself 10 World Championship points, to give Ferrari 10 World Championship points.
Warm-up on the car was already quite good. We made some final changes which improved even further for the race, and after that it got better and better, and as I said, I took some different lines, which was quite a difference after a couple of laps, and that was the reason.
One of these days the sky
Damon Hill's future in Grand Prix motor racing has been thrown into doubt after his Renault Williams team announced he would not be driving for them next season.
Damon, the world at large would expect you to feel hurt, downcast, angry, disillusioned. What are your feelings?
Well, I'm disappointed. I wouldn't say that I could be anything other than that. I was told the news on last Wednesday by Frank, and naturally I was very disappointed to hear the news.
Damon, some of the attitude to this decision that Frank's made almost seems to be that there's no life after Williams. Is that your attitude?
On reflection, it's maybe time I flew the nest. You know, I started there as a test driver and grown over these last 6 years, and I think that I have the opportunity now to explore other teams who I can bring my expertise to help develop a winning car.
Does it fire you up even more for Sunday?
I think there's extra motivation. There's always new twists and turns which provide extra motivation to win, but I don't need any more motivation. I've been motivated throughout the season to win races, and I think that the fact that I've won 7 of the last 13 races should speak for itself.
If not, would you quit?
I'm not a quitter, Ted.
I am extremely distressed for all sorts of reasons, one of which is that Damon is a personal friend of mine. The second is that I have to say I think he's been treated very badly by the team. If you think about what he's done in terms of being a test driver and developing the car, as I talk to you, he has won 20 Grand Prix and is likely to win the World Championship, and it seems a very poor return. But sadly, this sort of thing happens in Formula One.
Having closed to within 13 points in the race for the title, Monza provides Hill with the opportunity to clinch it or open it up. Another pole position is as good a place as any to start. Villeneuve, though, never seems that far away.
5, hold, go! Hill's got away well. Villeneuve lights up the tyres, and he's right up alongside Damon Hill as they go into the Rettifilio, and coming through from behind them, a Benetton. It must be Jean Alesi now. Are they all going to get through? They have done so far, all dodging the tyres. Jean Alesi has made another of those absolutely sensational starts of his and got ahead. He led the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari last year, but he was 6th on the grid, row 3. Number 3, Jean Alesi leads with Damon Hill in 2nd position. Jacques Villeneuve is in 3rd place, and if you had asked me if that was likely to happen, I must say I would have said no, and Damon Hill leads. Hill passes Jean Alesi as they go into the Rogia, and you can see up behind Jacques Villeneuve are Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard. So it's Williams, then the Benetton, then the second Williams, and Alesi is having a go, trying to get the lead back at the Ascari chicane. My goodness, this Italian Grand Prix is red hot already on lap 1 as they come down to the Parabolica. Now, who's going to be first into the Parabolica? We'll soon see. It's Damon Hill. There's Villeneuve, and he's been passed by Mika Hakkinen. So Villeneuve is down to 4th position. He started 2nd on the grid. He's lost 2 places. He's in 6th position. Barrichello is 7th. And now there is Gerhard Berger coming off the track. So 3rd retirement, and we're only on lap 6. One of the Benettons is out, and Berger exits the car. An awful Monza for him.
Yes, this definitely hasn't been a good weekend at all for him, but what's wrong with Jacques Villeneuve? He's 6 seconds behind Michael Schumacher.
Look, under the bridge there, that is a Williams Renault, and I'm guessing that it's Jacques Villeneuve until we can see the driver. I'm not going to make any statements about her. It's Hill! It's Damon Hill! He's out! I don't know what's happened, but you can see from the way he is holding his head that he's absolutely distraught. Here it is, it's the Rettifilio, and he's hit the tyres, and he spins out and stops. stops and Damon Hill retires on lap 6. That means that Alain leads, Schumacher is second. Villeneuve, who is Damon Hill's chief challenger in the World Championship, is now in third position, and we're looking back from Hill's car now as he goes into the retafilio. There's the first pile of tyres. He's hit them, he spins underneath the bridge, stops and out.
Situation to him, question mark of course over Ferrari reliability. I think this is really shaping up, despite the loss of the cars we've had so far, to be a pretty close race, because Alain and the Benetton, Schumacher and the Ferrari really could be evenly matched. But the big mystery, and I hope we can find out from the pits what's going on, is just why is Villeneuve so poor? He's losing a second and a half a lap to Jean Alain of Alain's car. Now he's closer, there's no doubt about it. He's coming up, he's closing all the way on Alain. It's difficult to see the gap from this perspective, but I don't think he's going to be far enough. He's not close enough. At the moment, the car's fuel weight is burning off. Brakes are an issue here. These long braking speed distances when you come down, or short braking distances I should say, but hard amounts of braking from 200 right down to 50. They're about to do it again now. Put a great deal of heat into the brakes. Alain is one of the last of the late breakers too, so that's going to be difficult for Schumacher to get by. Brundle remaining in third place, and Alain is coming into the pits, we hear. Now this is the critical bit now. 9 seconds we're looking for. Look at that brake dust there, the black clouds of smoke coming out. That's normal. That's all the carbon fibre brake dust. It's a good stop. It's a good one. 9.0 seconds. Ferrari are ready. We can see that. That means Schumacher's coming in. We see the Jordan pit. That means that we're going to have Barrichello coming in soon. Ferrari going to have a hard job. It's good news for Schumacher, because that means that he can make up more time on the track, more time without being held up by Alain. And he set a 26.3. That is 9/10 of a second faster than Alain's best lap. So that means that Schumacher has clawed back 8/10 of a second. And it's fair to assume he's got a clear track in front of him. It's fair to assume that he can...
Very, very good indeed. And it's just about even Steven. 0.2 of a second in it. There's a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit in the pit lane. It's only a very short distance onto the track. And Michael Schumacher rejoins the track ahead of Jean Alain, and the Tifosi go absolutely wild, because now on lap 34 there is Alain in the background. What a race at Monza and the Italian Grand Prix. The Tifosi all around me are erupting. The scarlet flags, the Ferrari flags are flying. The prancing horses are prancing, and Michael Schumacher crosses the line to win the Italian Grand Prix with his clenched fist raised in victory. And there is the proof of the jubilation that all Italy is experiencing at this moment. Michael Schumacher wins in Italy.
So many people enjoying themselves, it's fantastic. You can't only see that in Italy. Just said before, I think we should allow everywhere the people to come in front of the podium to let them celebrate with us. But as they celebrate, it's only possible in Italy.
Right round the outside of the long right-hander before the pit straight. That gives him third, and there's nothing Schumacher can do to respond. It's Villeneuve's turn once more, but with a quicker stop from the Williams crew, he gets back into the race just ahead of Hill. Villeneuve consistently lapping about a second quicker than Hill, so that by the end of lap 70, the Canadian takes his 4th win of the season from Hill.
We knew we had to beat Damon by at least 10 points to still keep us a slim chance for the championship, and that's what we did today.
Sorry, Adrian.
That's all right.
How'd you...
What do you mean, sorry?
Why, because now you're going to have to go to Japan.
Yeah, well, yes. You should apologise about that. You're quite right.
Do you think you can engineer me? Do you think you can engineer me to 1 point? Blimey, it's got to finish, hasn't it? That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I personally don't have a problem if he wins the championship, to be honest. I don't like it very much if I'm not able to push him, if I'm not able to compete with him, because I have certain mechanical problems. But in the end of the day, if he wins it, then he won it. I mean, that's the way it is.
I reckon I was in the best shape I've been mentally for any race all season at Suzuka. You couldn't manufacture a situation like that. That had happened as a result of 15 Grand Prix up until then. All the preparation, all the hours that you've spent in the gym, all the time you spent talking to the engineers, you know, at last, this is the time it's going to happen. There I was on the front row. I was ready.
The Japanese Grand Prix is go, and it is go this time, and a brilliant start by Damon Hill, and Villeneuve has been passed by Jean Alesi and by one of the McLarens. So a terrible start for Jacques Villeneuve, and Damon Hill is in front, but remember, and I'm not trying to be a Jeremiah, but Damon Hill did exactly this at Monza, and out goes Jean Alesi. Irvine in the Ferrari, and Jacques Villeneuve, and the gap between Villeneuve and Damon Hill on lap 3 is 4.5 seconds. As Jonathan has said, Damon has got to play it very cool indeed as Gerhard Berger comes right up alongside him and goes over the curb at the chicane. He was having a go there. Damon Hill rebuffed him, but at the same time kept the Williams clear of the Benetton, and look at the gap he's pulled out as a result of Berger running over the curb, and that's given Mika Häkkinen the opportunity to close up a bit on the Benetton. Hill goes round turn 1. This is a 155 miles an hour corner on the entry. That is Gerhard Berger, and look at his wing. Look at his front wing. Gerhard Berger has got a wing problem. He's going to have to come in and change the nose, and this is going to make things even better for Damon Hill. And Villeneuve still battling for that 5th position. Now behind them it's Martin Brundle in 6th position, and Villeneuve having a look as he comes up to the chicane, and Eddie Irvine rebuffing him. Villeneuve is quite the calmest, most relaxed, laid-back person I've ever met anywhere, but even he must be getting a bit agitated because he can't get past Eddie Irvine. He is now 8.5 seconds behind Damon Hill, and what's more, he's got Martin Brundle closing on. 4 new tyres and wheels, the right amount of fuel, which is pre-measured, and that looked like an absolutely immaculate stop for me as Michael Schumacher here comes out, and Damon Hill is going to rejoin. Is he just in front of the Ferrari? Yes, he is! Damon Hill, lap 35, rejoins in the lead ahead of Michael Schumacher. So, if any hope that the Ferrari team was that they would be able to pass Damon Hill in the pits, it has been destroyed. And on lap 36, with Villeneuve now the fastest man on the track as we join him, a new fastest lap, 1 minute 44.4, 3.4 seconds outside the all-time lap record of Nigel Mansell, and he's closing up on Gerhard Berger's Benetton Renault ahead of him. So we don't really count that. That was a good stop for Berger, now on his way for a clean run to the end of the race. Let's expect to see Katayama come up the pit lane. This really is being a tatty end to Katayama's, and that is Villeneuve. It's Villeneuve. Jacques Villeneuve is out of the race. Damon Hill is the world champion of 1996. Wheel off Villeneuve. We'll see what happened, but whatever it was has denied him the world championship. Frank Williams looking his normal, impassive self, but Damon Hill is the world champion of 1996. His last lap in Japan, and now is the time to say that we are seeing history made, because Damon Hill is the son of the great Graham Hill, the world champion of 1962 and 1965, and never before in the history of Formula One Grand Prix racing has the son of a world champion become world champion himself. Damon Hill has already done that, even if he doesn't complete this lap that he is on, as he goes round turn 7 up to the unique crossover at Suzuka, which makes this circuit the way it is. And there are the teams in their blue and white London Rowing Club caps, matching the helmet of Damon Hill, which matches the helmet of his great father, Graham Hill. This is going to be a mighty emotional occasion.
for a lot of people, not the least of whom is myself. And Damon Hill will be concentrating in the cockpit there, but when he comes out of it, his arms will go up, the helmet will come off. That is his wife, Georgie. She's seeing her husband become world champion. Now she's seeing him win the Japanese Grand Prix because he is almost home. This is something that many people didn't think could possibly happen today. They thought Damon would drive a cautious race, but he fought. He fought from second on the grid. He passed Jacques Villeneuve. He took the lead. He stayed there. And Damon Hill exits the chicane and wins the Japanese Grand Prix. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat.
Burn it. It was good. You waited long enough.
Yeah, I think Michael was pleased to see me with it. He actually said something along the lines of, I think Damon needs this. I think he was right.
If Michael Schumacher was the greatest racing driver that ever lived, then I didn't do too badly against him. But we didn't know at the time. We didn't know at the beginning of his career. In fact, Ayrton didn't know. Nobody knew quite where this guy was going to end up.
I don't care what anyone says. He raised the bar. He was a naturally athletic person, but he took that side of things to a new level. And the devotion to being part of the team was at a different level than anything I'd ever seen before. You know, he would be the last one out of the paddock at night. You know, he would always want to be the one testing the car. You know, I can remember Maranello days. I'd ring him up and say, Michael, you know, we've got something we really want to check out tomorrow. He said, what time do you want me there? There was never a doubt. He was totally devoted to it, and it's a tragedy what's happened, but he's a lovely human being. I mean, the work he did away from motor racing, which he always kept quiet about, and he's a lovely guy.
Trip to the wild side. Wanna learn how to be brave, take what's mine. Wanna learn about what's on the inside. 'Cause I feel like we're running out of time. Yeah, I'm made to be go. It's all physical. So good, it's criminal. So good. so physical.